Hi, this is TJR, and as promised, here is my review of You Want It Darker by Leonard Cohen. Now, this is what I refer to as a first impressions review, which means I listen to the album, I read the lyrics as I'm listening, and I start writing my thoughts on what I'm experiencing as I listen to it. This is not one of the in-depth analyses that I have done in the past, like I did with Led Zeppelin 4 and Led Zeppelin 1, although this is a track-by-track review. At any rate, though, I hope you enjoy this review, and I'll be looking forward to checking out your comments. Thanks. Bye. Songs that ponder mortality are not that common in popular music, and devoting an entire album to it is even rarer. But as many legacy acts get older, we might start seeing more and more of this. You Want It Darker is the 14th and last album by Leonard Cohen, and like The Wind by Warren Zevon, the author knew that he was going to be passing on soon, and that this would be his last musical statement. So yes, it informs the work. You Want It Darker is not casual listening. Don't listen to it for the first time while you are driving. Instead, sit down in a quiet place, turn your cell phone off, and read the lyrics and experience each song. There is a musical deceptiveness to the song's opening and title track, You Want It Darker. The song opens with an a cappella church choir before breaking into a dark bass groove that would not be out of place on a lot of late 60s and early 70s soul records. In the opening title track, Leonard Cohen appears to be ready to accept death. He sings a repeating alternate chorus of Hineni, Hineni, which is the Jewish word for here I am, followed by the line, I'm ready, my Lord. The first time he sings this line, it comes off as acceptance. But then on the song's fourth verse, he states, they're lining up the prisoners and the guards are taking aim. I struggled with some demons. They were middle class and tame. I didn't know I had permission to murder and to maim. You want it darker? Then he repeats the Hineni, Hineni chorus again. And this time it is filled with a regret of a human being leaving the world in a much darker place than the one that he was raised in. And so begins this last album by Leonard Cohen. Track 2, entitled Treaty, reads like a manifesto of regret, and specifically the regret that comes from irreconcilable differences. But throughout the song, I found it hard to know if he was singing about the irreconcilable differences between himself and past lovers, or the irreconcilable differences between the requirements of the physical world and the spiritual worlds. But if I was questioning the meaning on track 2, I am certainly not questioning the meaning or intent of track 3, which is entitled On the Level. This is a song about having the courage and common sense to let someone go. This song feels like it is about having the good sense to not allow your passions to guide you into a relationship, especially if it's one that you have no business getting into. But once again, there is the theme of just simply letting go. Then comes track 4, entitled Leaving the Table, and this track is all about the hard goodbyes. Some of them bitter, some of them bittersweet. But throughout the song, all of them are unapologetic. With track 5, If I Didn't Have Your Love, we are finally given some reprieve from the regret and sorrow that this album has delved into so far, with a very universal song about undying love, undying even in the knowledge of impending death. Now, I love the double entendre of Traveling Light, which is track 6. In this song, Mr. Cohen uses everyone's favorite practical traveling tip to sing about putting one's final affairs into order before leaving, and about the journey that will take you past material cares. Don't forget to travel light. Track 7 is entitled, It Seemed the Better Way. This song deals with both the anguish and anger of knowing that you haven't got long to go. It's about that emotional place between wanting to angrily rage against both God and the inevitability of death, and then the knowledge that no amount of piss and vinegar will make any of it any different. With the opening line of track 8 entitled Steer Your Way, Leonard Cohen once again addresses both the physical and spiritual with the line, Steer your way through the ruins of the altar and the mall. And throughout the song, he tries to give us a roadmap between the contradictions that life throws at us, between what spirituality wants us to attain and what the world of man forces so many of us to adhere to. This is summed up very strongly in the line, As he died to make men holy, let us die to make things cheap. Now, this album ends with track 9, which is entitled String Reprise / Treaty. And as I listened to this final track, I wondered because for a moment there, it felt like this was going to be a completely instrumental track. So I wondered, would one of the greatest wordsmiths of the 20th century end what he knew would be his last artistic statement with a musical instrumental? Would he end it with no words? I wondered, by saying nothing, is he going to state that, in the end, words are simply not enough? It's an intriguing idea, but then that was broken when we finally hear the final lines. And in those he states, I wish there was a treaty we could sign. It's over now, the water and the wine. We were broken then, but now we're borderline. And I wish there was a treaty. I wish there was a treaty between your love and mine. Now, when I talked about these lyrics in track 2, I said that I felt that I was unsure if the lyrics were about the irreconcilable differences between himself and past lovers, or the irreconcilable differences between the requirements of the physical and the spiritual worlds. But in this final stanza, I feel that this song is about wishing for a detente between the author's love of life and the inevitability that God is going to take it away from you. Recently, I saw the movie Melancholia by director Lars von Trier. Melancholia is a movie that portrays both depression and the end of the world. And I couldn't help but think about this film as I listened to You Want It Darker. Now, You Want It Darker is not about the end of the world, but it is about the end of Leonard Cohen's world. And within the lyrics of these songs, he has shared that ending with us. And hopefully, through his own poetic observation, he has given us a roadmap of how to understand and cope with our own endings once our own time comes. This is TJR. Thanks so much for watching.